Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome back to the Fantasy 420, where today we are going to be continuing our 2019 Fantasy Baseball This or That series. Opening day was obviously yesterday, but people are still signing up for Yahoo Baseball leagues. It's a long season, so I would recommend everybody sign up. Even though you missed one game, it's obviously an extremely long 162 game season. You'd start at week 2, but it impacts your leagues a lot less than football and basketball. So I highly recommend everybody sign up. If you haven't played baseball before, I highly recommend you try. It'll get you into the sport, start loving it, and just give you another fantasy tool to use. I love fantasy baseball. It's a lot more consistent week to week, and it's really fun. So with this series, we've been focusing on 2 players who have been playing the same position and are being drafted in about the same round of fantasy baseball drafts. According to fantasypros.com, aggregate ranking site, it takes ESPN, Yahoo, and all the other sites' rankings, puts them together, and gives you one baseline. So today we're going to be discussing 2 starting pitchers who are being going in about the 9th round in 2019 fantasy baseball drafts. The first being German Marquez, who's being picked at around 102. And I'm going to be putting him up against Miles Mikolas, who's been going at around 105. So like our other videos, before we get to a verdict, I think it's important that we focus on some evidence with each player. First, we're going to begin with their career up to this point and their 2018 statistical recap. And with that, we'll start with Marquez, who plays for the Colorado Rockies, and he has for his entire career. He's going into his age 24 season, and it's his 3rd real year. In 2016, he only had 3 starts, so we won't really count that. But he's an exciting young strikeout pitcher who's improving with each season, and it's really exciting to see. So with 2018, he pitched 196 innings, which is above his expected 162 game averages of about 194. And that's also up from his 2017 season. Then we move on to wins, in which he had 14. That's up from 2017 and better than his expected 13 wins. He had a 3.77 ERA, which was down from 2017, and that's compared to his expected 4.11 ERA. And he had 230 strikeouts to 196 innings pitched. So that's around his expected, much higher, I should say, than his expected 200 strikeouts per 194 innings pitched. And in 2017, he had less strikeouts than innings pitched. So we're just seeing improvement all across the board. He's really coming into his own as a player, and that's really excited to see. Freeland started on opening day, so he's firmly entrenched as their number 2 starter. As long as he's healthy, he's going to be getting the hill as many times as possible for that team. He's one of the franchise's best options, and it's just somebody I'm really excited to buy into this year. There's a lot of things positive going in his direction, and we might even see an all-star game if everything went right for him. On the other hand, we have Miles Mikolas, and he has had a very strange career path up to this point, to say the least. So he started in 2012 and broke out with the Padres, but it was only for 32 innings, and he went 2-1. And then the next season, he was healthy, but they had him in the minor leagues, and he only pitched 1 inning in the majors. And then they just decided to trade him to the Rangers. So I guess they just didn't like what they saw from him. Hopefully thought he was going to turn into something, and by the end of the year didn't. So they decided to move on and traded him to the Rangers in 2014. And that year he just got blown up in the majors, and the Rangers just cut bait. He then decided to go play for a team in Japan for 3 seasons, saw some great success, and then the Cardinals signed him at age 29 last year, and he had a great 2018. It was really, really good. He pitched 200 innings, which is above what was expected. It's kind of hard to judge because the site obviously takes ballpark into account that they pitch for and their previous experience among other factors. And he obviously pitched in Japan for 3 seasons, so a little bit skewing the numbers, but he had 18 wins last year, which is a lot from any count. It doesn't matter what you're talking about. 2.83 ERA. Extremely good, extremely low ERA. The one thing that would give you question, though, 146 strikeouts over 200 innings pitched. Now, we like to see our pitchers at around a strikeout per innings pitched, but he's well below that. So the wins being really high and the ERA being really low with the strikeouts being low means he's really efficient as a pitcher, and that's always good. But if he does see a little drop in efficiency and he doesn't give you the strikeouts, then the wins could drop, the ERA could jump. So that's a little bit iffy, especially considering the players have a little bit of tape on him after coming back from overseas. And this year, it's a little bit of a question mark whether he'll see that much success, because that's a lot of success in specific areas. So the next thing we're going to mention in our evidence is the offseason and team player updates, what the team and player have changing from last year. So we'll start with Marquez and the Rockies. And like I've mentioned in a lot of previous other videos, I love what they did. They added Daniel Murphy, who, if he could stay healthy, I think will be a great cog and stabilizing force for that team. They re-upped their franchise player, Nolan Arenado, so he should be really happy. And they have another year out of their young players, David Dahl and Ryan McMahon, who I actually coached in third grade NJB All-Stars. We ended up making it to Los Angeles. I know he's probably not going to watch this video or remember who I am, but a shout out to Ryan McMahon, first base, second base in that Rockies organization, and good luck. Hope you tear it up this year. They're expecting a bunch out of those two players to be young and progress forward. Charlie Blackmon, Trevor Story, beasted the last couple seasons, and then hopefully an Ian Desmond bounce back, and I love what they did. They have a very scary lineup. If they could get another great year out of Freeland and Marquez, maybe John Gray has a bounce back. A couple of their other pitchers have a decent to good season. I think that division is ripe for the taking. I think the Dodgers are still great, but obviously took a peg down from last year. The Padres, Diamondbacks, and Giants are all planning beyond this season. I love what the Padres are doing, and I think they're going to be on a fast-track rebuild past 2020. But I think for this year, it's going to be between them and the Dodgers, and it's going to be closer than it has been previously. And I really like the Rockies to make the playoffs either via the division or the wild card, because they just have a really dangerous lineup. And I think it has a lot of projection to protect Marquez. And I project him to get a lot of wins going forward just from that lineup. And if he improves, that's really scary. Also on the other end, Miles Mikolas and the Cardinals, I love what they did. I've mentioned before in past videos, which I will link. They acquired Paul Goldschmidt in a trade, and that's huge. Marcell Ozuna another year. DeJong another year. Carpenter, if he can stay healthy. They got a lot of hitters. They have very solid pitching, a great staff, I would even argue. I just think even though their division is harder than the NL West, he's obviously going to be pitching as long as he can stay healthy. Mikolas is supposed to be a huge cog. They want to be a contending team. I think they can win that division or make the wild card, because the Brewers and Cubs are going to be really good. So we'll see. I really like what they did for Mikolas. They can give him a lot of protection just as much as Marquez. So both really great teams and had really great off seasons. So I think we have enough to make our verdict. We have two really great offenses, two high-end starters for great teams who I think will be very productive this year. But I do think there's one player who I would prefer, and that is German Marquez. I do like the younger arm, a little bit more stability. I love his improvement from last year. I love him coming into his own in the strikeout universe. I don't like the Coors Field, but I do like that 3/5 of their division, in my opinion, is rebuilding. I do like the Dodgers, but the Diamondbacks and the Giants, I believe, are a little bit further behind, and I think it's going to be a two-team race, and he should see a lot of protection while his hitters are feasting on those bad teams. So I love the Rockies for fantasy, and I love Marquez, especially looking good at the end of last year and better. Being so young, he's just a player I'd really buy into. Mikolas, I still like him. I'm just a little bit more afraid of him in a lot of other categories. His age being 30 this year, obviously when they hit that 30 year in sports, it usually is a little bit of a warning flag. We have to start looking at that. I'm a little bit more afraid that hitters are going to come around to him as opposed to Marquez now that they have tape from him last year, a little bit more from his touring in Japan as opposed to Marquez. Yeah, they have tape from him for a couple seasons, and he could see hitters that come around to him. But that being said, I just think it's a little safer than Mikolas. He has lack of Ks, so he's going to have to depend on wins and ERA. And I just think that that's a little bit more unpredictable. And the Brewers, Cubs, and Reds improving in that division do scare me a lot more than the teams I mentioned in the NL West. So all that puts forward and being said, I would buy into Marquez. He's a great 9th round pick. Miles Mikolas is a good one too. Might even be greater than that, but I would just buy into Marquez instead. So I appreciate everybody listening to this video. As always, I will be back with another video tomorrow in baseball, and then another video Sunday, and then next week probably be moving on to some more material. But I'm really excited for the season right now. I highly encourage everybody to sign up, and I will talk to you tomorrow. As always, everyone, take it easy and peace.